Simon Sez subscribe and click on the bell icon to receive notifications.
Hi everyone, welcome to this course on writing, communicating, and meeting tactics for the modern workplace. My name is Elissa Smith and I am an IT trainer with over 25 years of teaching people smart and productive ways to use their end user software applications. Do you happen to send text and emails on a daily basis? Well, most of us average over 52 or more texts per day, according to 99firms.com, and over 112 work emails per day, according to Raconti. What about virtual meetings? Have you noticed how many more of those we now have? And how do you stay connected with your coworkers when everyone is working remotely? This course is made for anyone who's trying to find smarter ways to use their email, instant messaging applications, virtual meeting platforms, and also staying connected with coworkers while working remotely. During this course, we're going to explore many software applications, but you'll see me utilize the Microsoft suite for most of the functionalities that we'll explore. Please keep in mind that many of these functionalities could be utilized as well in other email, messaging, and virtual meeting platforms. During this course, we'll start our journey in an email platform, Microsoft Outlook, crafting professional email messages. How do you send an email message to a manager, and then how do you craft an email for a client? We'll also talk about important functionalities like how to set up out-of-office replies when you're out of the office on vacation. Or how do you search for content effectively in your inbox using tools like a search folder. After we're finished tackling email, we're going to move into the Microsoft Teams platform and look at instant messaging. We want to show you how you can actually use an instant message as a way to manage a short-term project. We're also going to look at etiquette when it comes to instant messaging. When we're finished with instant messaging, we want to look at ways to make virtual meetings more effective. So for example, in Microsoft Teams, how can I use tools like breakout rooms or even meeting notes to make my virtual meeting experience more engaging? The final area that we'll explore is a tool set called the Viva Suite. The Viva Suite was created recently by Microsoft to help people stay connected while working remotely. The first thing we'll explore is Viva Connections. Viva Connections is a way for organizations to service their own internal information for employees while they're working inside of Microsoft Teams. Next, we're going to look at Viva Insights. This is a great way to see how you work, take insights from that, and learn smarter ways to work by doing things like meditating or even setting up quiet time to help you improve your work-life balance. Our final area will be Viva Learning, which is bringing learning opportunities into the Teams platform for everyone who's at work, while still inside of Microsoft Teams. Now it's time for us to move on to our next lesson. I briefly want to tell you about what we'll be exploring next. Our first lesson will actually be learning to communicate professionally in email. So let's go ahead and get started. Hello everyone, welcome to Module 2-01. In this module, Communicating Professionally in Email Using Outlook, we're going to ensure that you are familiar with the Outlook interface, how to customize the interface to your own needs to better efficiently use the Outlook platform to help you send professional email. As you are trying to use Microsoft Outlook to send professional email, it's important to be able to customize the Outlook interface to help you work productively. Here are a few suggestions. On the far left-hand side of the Outlook interface, you will see what's called the folder pane. This is where your Outlook account is organized into folders, like an inbox, sent items, and then custom folders that you create to organize your content. Now the folder pane can be minimized to save room. To do this, you're going to go to the top right-hand corner. You'll see a small arrow pointing to the left, and when you click on this, it minimizes the folder pane, so it takes up less room. To open it again, you can come back to the same arrow and click. The only problem with this is that the folder pane expands, but it covers up my incoming email behind. To make this again open all the way up, I'm going to come to the pin at the top right hand corner, and now it will be pinned and I can see it fully open. Another suggestion is to add favorite folders to the favorites area located at the top of your folder pane. Remember that favorites are only useful if they're actually uncollapsed. To do this, I'm going to go to a folder that I've created right-click on it, and about 5th from the bottom of my right-click menu, I'll see an Add to Favorites option. This will take that custom folder and add it up with the other folders that are inside my Favorites menu. Notice it does not remove it from the portion of the folder pane below. It's just a time saver. You can also remove any custom folders you add by right-clicking and saying Remove from Favorites. Now, in addition to this, another area where people waste a lot of time is navigating in Outlook, because we have to go from our Outlook inbox to our calendar and vice versa. So a way to save time doing this is to go down to the navigation pane. You'll see that in my Outlook, it's minimized down at the bottom, and I'm going to hover over my calendar. When I do this, a peek window opens, and that's actually what it's called. And this allows me to see my calendar events for any given day just by hovering. If this is a window that I'd like to keep open, I can dock the peek. To do this, I'm going to come to the top right-hand corner. You'll see a very small rectangle with an arrow pointing up and to the right. When I click on this, it takes my calendar and docks it over on the right-hand side of my screen in what's called the to-do bar. You can also dock the peeks for your people and also for your task list. But the great thing about this is now I can be working in my email and still have my calendar open. If you ever want to close the to-do bar, you'll see an X in the top right-hand corner that will allow you to close it. But in addition, if you go to your view ribbon, you'll see that on the right-hand side of the view ribbon, when it's fully opened in classic view, that in the layout group, you have 3 buttons to help you manage all the different panes that open in Outlook. One of them is called the to-do bar. And you'll see here that there are 3 portions that you can also just put check marks next to that will dock those 3 peeks for you. So you end up with a calendar peek, again, a peek that allows you to search your address list, and a peek for the task list in Microsoft Outlook. And if you want to turn the entire to-do bar off, you can come back to the to-do bar and say off up in the ribbon, and the entire thing turns off. In addition to the to-do bar, you also have the reading pane button up on that same view ribbon tab that allows you to have your reading pane on the right where you can preview email, or on the bottom, or completely turned off. And then the final option is to totally turn off your folder pane. So if I go to the folder pane button, I can say off as well. So you have a lot of control over how you view your inbox. Use this to help you be comfortable inside of Microsoft Outlook. In the next module, we're going to explore how to create professional emails using Microsoft Outlook. Hello everyone, welcome to Module 2-02, Craft Effective Email Message Basics. In the last module, we explored how to customize the Microsoft Outlook platform to help you work more productively. In this module, we're going to explore the basics of effective email communication. These are the steps that you need to take every time you send an email message to send email that is professional and concise. When it comes to crafting professional email, there are certain things you need to do with every email that you send. First of all, be sure your email is coming from a professional email address. From inside Microsoft Outlook, I'm going to go up to my Home ribbon tab and click on the New Email button. Of course, a new blank email window opens up. First thing I need to do is properly address my email to the correct email address. After I do this, I need to come down and do my subject line. This is probably one of the most important elements of your email because this is the first thing that your recipient's going to read. So what we suggest here is a clear, concise, informative subject line that clearly states your email's goal and is under 60 characters in length. This is going to help the person receiving your email know exactly what your email is about and get them to read it sooner and pay attention and respond. Now after this, I need to come in and make sure that I greet my recipient with a proper salutation. Let's say you're doing an email for someone that you've never met. Then use dear. If it's someone that you're more familiar with, you can use a less formal salutation like hi or hello. Of course, now I need to use the body of my email. Again, use proper syntax and spelling and include, for example, informative information. This particular email includes a PowerPoint presentation. So I'm going to make sure that I go up and attach the proper file before I send the message. Also, you'll notice that I'm including a proper closure that is professional. It includes a subject line, my role in my organization, and phone number and email if applicable. Now, before I send this email off, it is very important that I proofread it and that I also spell check it. So don't forget to go to your review ribbon tab and make sure that you have proper spelling. And if this email is very important, make sure that you have someone else proof it for you. We're going to click on the send button. And then don't forget follow up after an email message. If there's something that still needs to happen to correlate with that email, make sure you do that as well. Don't forget to join us for the next module where we're going to explore how to send different email to different recipients, a manager versus a coworker versus a client. Hello everyone, welcome to Module 2-03, Craft Email for Clients and Managers. In this module, we're going to explore the need for sending effective email to clients. Did you know that the average office worker receives around 121 emails every day and sends over 40? That's an average number of emails sitting in your inbox at over 200. Should you really be sending an email in the first place? We're going to answer some of these questions as we explore how to send effective email to clients. And then don't forget, in the next module, we're going to explore how to control our email settings. Now that I've decided the most effective way to communicate with my client is through email, let's talk about some of the advantages of sending an email message. It's fast, it's not time zone sensitive, it provides an audit trail of our conversation, it gives time for replies, very environmentally friendly, and it allows for communication across organizations. So I've come into Microsoft Outlook. I'm going to go up to my Home Ribbon tab, open up a new blank email box, and of course in my To field, I want to ensure that I'm sending my email to the correct email address. Probably the second most important part of your email is your subject line. You want to write a strong subject line that's going to bring your recipient in. Some strategies. You can ask questions in your subject line. You can emphasize scarcity by providing a limited time deal for a customer. You can also personalize it with the prospect's name, use verbs to compel them to act, and address pain points in your subject line. So right here, I'm going to provide, again, the idea that I have something that they need by emphasizing scarcity of something. Now, the next thing I need is, of course, an introduction or salutation. Here you can use words like to whom it may concern, dear, greetings. You also have to decide if you'll include first and last name. For me, I'm just going to do Dear Brian to make it a little bit simpler and not so formal. The second thing I need is, of course, the body of my email. Now, something we sometimes fail to do with emails to clients is do research. Before you draft the rest of your email, you can research your prospect using your CIM software to learn about their buyer profile. This can be important because you want to create awareness, help them to consider what they need, and help them to make a decision. So I'm going to go ahead and paste in the body of my email message. Notice here I'm introducing myself and my organization. I'm using bullet points to point out important things that I can bring to them. And then I'm again going back to my subject line and using bold. I'm also placing some white space in the email to help it not be so wordy. In conjunction with that, I'm also including all my contact information down in my closing. And I want to be, again, very polite as I do this. Another thing to remember as you finish up your email is to make sure that you have a value proposition at the bottom, which is also what I'm doing. Then, of course, make sure that you proofread your email. Have someone else proof it. Also go through and grammar check everything before you send it off. When you're finally ready, go up and click on the send button. Let's talk about another context for sending an email at work, needing to email your supervisor. It's common to reach out to a supervisor with questions and requests. Some very common reasons are requesting time off, asking a work-related question, providing confirmation that a task has been completed, or even requesting an extension for a task's deadline. What about offering thanks and expressing gratitude? How about sharing important information regarding a task or project? These are all reasons for sending emails to your boss. So the first thing I want to do is come in and open up a new blank email message from the Home Ribbon tab. Then I'm going to address it to my boss. Now again, subject lines are critical here. We want to include a relevant subject line that briefly summarizes the reason for my message that I'm sending. And mine is that a particular task has been completed. And notice here, I won't only include a date, but I will also include a time because times can also be critical. Now, the next thing I need is a professional greeting. After my subject line, this will identify the name and title of your supervisor or just their name. In this case, I'm going to use a first name because perhaps I'm quite close to this supervisor. I work with them a lot. The next thing I need is the reason for the body of my email, which is the reason for me sending it. I am emailing you today because of this, or I am reaching out to you to confirm. I would like to request this. We want to keep it brief and very specific, and it's going to include an explanation. After I do this, I'm going to come down and make sure that I close my email with, again, a proper but polite closure. In this case, I'm just going to use the good old-fashioned sincerely. And I'm going to include my entire name and title. In this case, it's Megan's name and title. And then just with any email that we send, we want to look good in front of our boss. So I'm going to make sure that I proof this email. Spell check it, read through it, and then I'm going to send it off. And again, all these steps are going to ensure that when you send an email message, it has the correct tone. It also has the correct spelling and grammar to make you look professional when you email both your boss and the clients that you work with every day. Now stay tuned. In the next module, we're going to talk about being in control of the settings of your email. So join us for that. Hello everyone. In Module 2-04, we want to look at how to manage your email settings. Have you ever felt the need to control what happens to your email as you hit the send button? That's exactly what we're going to address in this module. Now we've just looked at how to craft messages for supervisors and for clients. And in the next module, we're going to explore how to deal with copyrights and trademarks in an email. But in this module, we want to look at how you can control how an email is received, when it's received, and do things to ensure that people will pay attention to an email when you send it. So let's look at the options that we have for each individual email that we send using Microsoft Outlook. So how do I control an email before it's sent? Here's my scenario. There's been a timeline delay on a project that I work on due to a manufacturing shortage, and I need to let my team know. But before I send the email, I want to be able to control certain features like when the email's received. I want to make it so it cannot be forwarded. I also want to ensure that it's sent with a high priority so that the people that receive it pay attention to it. So how can I do that as I'm creating the email? Let's open up a new blank email in Microsoft Outlook, and of course start by addressing it to the team of people that need to receive the message. This is an Outlook group or a distribution list. I'm also going to include a very specific and powerful subject line, like we've already talked about in previous modules. You want your subject line to get their attention. Then I'll include the body of my email. I'm addressing it to the team, and then I'm letting them know what's going on. And then notice that I've bolded information, letting them know that this is sensitive information. I don't want it shared outside this group. There's also something interesting here that I've done, which is an @ symbol. If your organization uses Microsoft 365, and a lot of other platforms also support this, you can go into your body of your message, type an @ symbol, and then type in a coworker or another Outlook group's name. This allows you to actually hyperlink and create a link to their name. It will include them in the email message, as you see up here. You can actually take this off if you don't want it there, because maybe I want to put Patty somewhere else. Now, what are some of the other important settings that I can do before I send this message? First of all, I want it sent with a high priority. So right here on the message ribbon, I'm going to come into the tags group and say high importance. This red exclamation point you see will actually appear with the message when it's sent to people's inboxes if they're using Microsoft Outlook. Now, another very important area where you have many settings that control how your email is received is going to be up here in the options group. On the options group, you'll see that I first of all have a themes group, but more importantly, I can control the different fields that are showing in the header of my email, including a blind carbon copy. This means that whoever I enter here will receive a copy of the email, but everyone else who's receiving it will not know that they've received it. In addition, I can also come in and make sure this email is not forwarded. Now, this can sometimes be impacted by the different securities that your IT group has on messages. But if you go to this encrypt padlock button, notice one of the things that you can do is say do not forward. And you'll notice this doesn't mean it just can't be forwarded. It also means that it can't be printed or copied. So it's a way to protect the information in the body of your message and ensure that it's staying within just this email. Now, I'd also like to do a delivery receipt and a read receipt. Be careful with using these because you will get a separate email notification in your inbox every time the email is received by a different person in the SmartGate project group, and also when they open your email or double click on it. So only do this if you really mean to. Let's say that I want to delay delivery of this message so that it's received tomorrow morning. I'm going to come right here to delay delivery. Now this takes me into the properties box. Another way to get to this same box is to actually go to the bottom right hand corner of the tracking group or the more options group. These two buttons take you both to what's called the properties box. Now notice it already shows that the important is set to high. I did that when I clicked on that red flag. As I come down, it's also showing me that I've selected to do both a delivery receipt and a read receipt. Now I would also like to, again, alter the delivery. I don't want it delivered until tomorrow at 8 in the morning, right as everyone's getting to work. So notice here that I can just go in and select when that delivery will be. Additionally, I can also save a copy of the message, and if there are questions or replies, I can actually have them directed to not just myself, but also perhaps my boss. In this case, I can select her from my address list. It's Patty Fernandez, so it will be both of us. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on the close button. So again, we've done several things: high importance, delivery receipt, read receipt, do not forward, delay delivery, and make sure that replies are not only sent to me, but also to my boss, Patty Fernandez. Now I'm finally ready to come in and click on the send button. And again, these are settings that you can create for individual emails that you send when it's something that's critical. Now in the next module, we're going to look at how to manage copyright and trademarks in email. So join us. Hello everyone. In the previous module, we discussed how to manage email settings. Things like adding a blind carbon copy to an email before it's sent, or even delaying the delivery of a message. In this module, we want to explore how to add things like copyright and trademark symbols into the email messages we send. Now, why is copyright or trademark important? Remember that copyright is a form of intellectual law that's going to protect original works of authorship. So in an organization, even things like, for example, computer software need to be protected with copyright or trademark symbols. So how do we put these into an email message before we send them? Here I have a brand new email message announcing some product launches of new products in my organization. And I want to start by adding a trademark symbol to some of these new products. Right here, I've clicked where I want my trademark symbol to go. Then I'm going to come up to the insert ribbon and come over to the text group and then to symbols. It's on the far right hand side of the ribbon. Notice too that I have my ribbons and again the expanded view. Then I'm going to go to symbol. Now sometimes you will see the trademark symbol or even the copyright symbol on this level of the menu. But if you don't see it, you can go down to more symbols and you'll see a full dialog box dedicated to symbols that will also allow you to find these common symbols. You'll see down here on the bottom, it shows me recently used symbols, And also there's a second tab at the top of the box called Special Characters that you can go to, and you will also see the copyright symbol here along with the registered trademark and the trademark. There are keyboard shortcuts for these that you can use on a Windows computer as well. When you want to insert one of them, you're going to come in and select the symbol you want to put in. So I'm going to start with the trademark symbol. Then I'm going to click on Insert. And you'll notice that it puts it in right next to the area where I clicked my cursor. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing, but this time I'm going to do a registered trademark. Please remember that with registered trademarks, they have to be registered with the USPTO. So don't fool around with this mark if you're not registered. To insert it in, another option is to enclose the symbol you want inside of parentheses. So I'm going to type parenthesis, then I'm going to type an R, and then I'll type another parenthesis. This will allow me to actually put the symbol right inside of my email. And it's a little bit small, but that is a circle with a letter R inside of it. Now the third one I'd like to do is a copyright. For this, I'm going to go down next to the conference name in my text. And again, I'm going to do a parenthesis, the letter C, and a parenthesis. This will actually put it into my, again, email message. The final place I want to add it is right here. And this time I'm going to go up to my insert ribbon again. I'm going to come over to symbol. And because it's right here in the menu, it's very easy for me to insert this in. So you can see that with these three symbols, you can properly address trademark, registered trademark, and also copy directly inside your email messages. Of course, I also still need to click on the send button. In this next module, we're going to look at best practices for keeping our emails both polite and brief. Hello everyone. In the previous module, we discussed how to add special symbols to your email messages, like trademark symbols and also copyright. In this module, we want to look at how to keep email messages both brief and polite at the same time. Let's look at some of the characteristics in this email message that I have open right now. Notice that it's addressed to a professional partner of some sort, someone outside of my organization. It also includes a very clear subject line. Basically, the thing you would need to remember is that any email that isn't to a close friend or family member needs to be written according to professional email guidelines. This is even true when you're frustrated or unhappy with someone. You need to keep, again, the tone of your email professional and also polite. So notice that after I have my subject line, I have a very concise message that states the purpose and also the thing that I want to accomplish from the email. Additionally, you're going to see that my email includes a professional closing in addition to contact information at the bottom. These are all characteristics of any email message that you want to send. The tone needs to be professional and it also needs to be concise. I'm not including any extra information. I'm not being chatty, but I am trying to get across the message that my email needs to send. And of course, don't forget to actually send your message when you're finished. In the next module, we're going to explore setting up automatic replies for when we go on vacation or are going to be out of the office for an extended period of time. Hello. In the previous module, we looked at how to send points in email that were both succinct and also polite. In this module, we want to look at how you set up your out-of-office replies, but also how you manage them. Now, this is a fairly easy thing to do, but sometimes we do not provide the people receiving our out-of-office replies with important information that will help them while we're out of reach of our own email. So first of all, how do we set up our out-of-office replies in Outlook? And keep in mind, most other email platforms offer this functionality. You just have to know where to go to get to it. I'm going to come up to the File ribbon tab and go down to Automatic Replies, also known as Out of Office. You can see that there in parentheses next to Automatic Replies. When you click on this, you'll see that right now it's turned off, but I've come in to set it up. One thing I highly recommend is doing this weeks ahead of time so that when it's time for you to get ready to go, you don't add extra stress. Right here, I can schedule when my automatic replies will begin, and I can even have them begin on a specifically prepared date. So I'm going to pick the dates and the times when my out-of-office replies will start. You can see here I can even schedule it down to the half hour. So this gets very specific. After I've completed setting up the date and times when I want my out-of-office replies to begin, I can also come in and provide one message for anyone who sends me an email from inside my organization, and then a separate message for anyone outside. Now, there are some important points that I highly recommend you include in any out-of-office reply message that you send. And let's take just a minute and discuss those. You'll see here that I'm preparing right now my message that will be sent to coworkers inside my org. You don't have to do two separate messages. If you want to do the same one, that's fine. First of all, a professional greeting, right? Even though it's an out-of-office response and you're going to be on vacation, you still want to sound like a professional. Second, the dates when you will be out of the office. Another thing that is nice to provide is when you think you'll be able to respond to their message. Finally, will you have access to email or not? And you can see that right here. A final thing is there a contact point for while you're out of the office if any issues occur? And you can see that I've also provided that. Now, another thing I can do after I've scheduled my out-of-office replies is set up a rule. Now, just a reminder on what rules are. Rules are a way to automate things that happen in your inbox so that you don't have to worry about them. The nice thing about setting up rules while you're out of the office is that it can help to keep your email organized when you're not checking your inbox. So I'm going to come down and click on the Rules button. A really easy rule to set up is to have certain messages sent to a specific folder while you're gone, and that's what I'm going to do. I'll click on the Add Rule button. I need to select who the messages will be from. In this case, it's a coworker, so I'll be going into my company address list to do this. Once I find my coworker's name, I need to pick the action that will happen when this rule runs. In this case, it's going to move any messages from my coworker into a folder that's already been created that's in my inbox. You'll see right here after I'm finished creating the rule that it tells me that this rule will be applied while I'm out of the office. So this is a rule that will only run when my out-of-office replies are running. I'm going to make sure the check mark is next to the rule. This will make sure it's turned on, and then I'm going to click on my OK button. Once I click on OK again, the beauty of this is that my out-of-office replies will run just for the period of time that you see here, and then they'll stop once I'm back in the office. Please remember that if you provide an inside your organization out-of-office reply, you'll also need to provide one for outside your organization, and it can be the same one. Now, just to review the best practices, include a professional greeting, the dates that you will be away from email, whether you'll be checking your email or have access to it, a date when you can respond to email messages by, and also a contact number or email address for a coworker who can follow up on urgent issues that arise. Now, in our next module, we're going to be looking at how to create professional email signatures, so join me for that. Hello everyone. In the last module, we looked at how to set up out-of-office replies when you're going to be out of the office to keep your email organized. In this module, we want to look at how to set up a proper email signature. Now remember that email signatures are your way of communicating with someone, introducing yourself, and also providing them with the means to communicate with you if they need to in the future. So a signature should include 5 basic pieces of information: your full name, your business or organizational name, your job title, contact phone and phone numbers, an official company website address, and in the case that you have a physical location for a store or service site, that actual location. So how do we set up our, again, signatures? We're going to come into Microsoft Outlook and open up a new blank email. After that, I'm going to click down in the body of my email area because this is where the signature will appear. Then I'm going to come up to the message ribbon and come over to the include group. This is also where you'll see things like the attach file and add links button. Here you'll also see the signature button. When I click on this, I'm going to go down and click on signatures. Now right now I don't have any signatures set up, so I'm going to create my first one by coming to the new button. I can type in the name of this signature, and I can have multiple signatures if I want. I'm calling mine work. I'm going to click on OK. Now down here in this edit signature area, I'm going to add my signature information. I can either already have it prepared or I can go ahead and just type it in. Now to add formatting, I can come in and select text. Notice that I have the opportunity to update, for example, the font style, also the font size, and even, for example, put things in bold if I'd like to. I can also add things like underlines and italics as well. When I'm done, I also need to decide where to apply this email signature. So up here on the right, we're going to see that I can have it applied to all my new messages and also when I reply or forward. In my case, I'm going to do it to both. Sometimes people will set up additional email signatures where they'll have a different one when they do a reply or forward. Then I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. Now you'll notice my signature has not yet been inserted into this email that I'm preparing right now. But if I do come up to my signatures button and come in and just select signatures, I could go ahead and copy and paste it out into this current email that I'm creating. But I'm going to close this email because what I want you to see is now if I go into a new email message and I address it to a coworker even, I'll see that my signature is here with all the information we talked about providing. Keep in mind, if you want to take things up to the next level, you can also include information, for example, like company logos, social media icons, and even calls to action, even a professional photograph inside your signatures. But remember that the basic information, your company name, phone numbers, email address, that contact information is critical because this is how people can come back to contact you after you send them an email. Hello everyone. In the last module, we discussed how to set up email signatures inside Microsoft Outlook. In this module, we want to look at how to apply respectful grammar when asking for something through email or requesting a reminder about something that we need. Now inside Outlook, I want to show you an email that's being sent to my boss requesting something that I need. I'm going to come right here and open up this email message. It's important to remember that when we're sending an email requesting something, it's important to think about, should we be sending the email in the first place? For example, remember that emails can be lost. They can also be delayed. So sometimes it's better to pick up the phone. Additionally, if you're requesting sensitive information like a bank account number or a credit card number, for example, that information can be illegal to send through email. So be sure you're requesting the right kind of information. Now this email message is to my boss. And as you can see, it's requesting information about needing a new software license. Let's take a peek at this email and see the specifics inside of it. It includes a subject line that tells exactly what I need. Also, I have an opening here to my boss, a greeting that's appropriate. It's a little more informal because I know my boss. Down inside the body of the message, you're seeing that I'm keeping it precise and short and clear about what I'm asking for. Additionally, I'm saying I need it as soon as possible. This is setting a time frame for when I need this thing to get completed. I'm also including a proper closing and my contact information so that my boss can get a hold of me. Each request is unique, but it's important to remember that you need to keep it short, clear, and concise. We're going to go ahead and send that off. Now, what about sending a reminder to someone about something that you need? In this case, this reminder email is about an undelivered order of something that my particular department needs. You'll notice again that if I look at the subject line, it's very specific. It's a reminder and it also includes the order number. So I'm being very specific about what I need and it's something that's going to catch their attention. Also, when I come down into the message, I'm including periods of time, letting them know dates. Also, I'm setting times for them, letting them know what I'm going to do if they don't respond. At the end of this message, you'll notice that I'm asking them to confirm that they have received this information. If you don't get a response, then you can think that your message is either being blocked or they're just not responding, and you may need to look at another way to contact them. But also notice again at the bottom of the email, I'm including my contact information so they can very quickly and easily get in contact with me. And always I'm keeping my information in the email very polite. I'm never getting angry, but I'm also using information to let them know that I need them to take care of the situation. When I'm ready, I'm going to click on the send button. Now in our next module, we're going to be looking at how to make emails gender inclusive. Hello everyone, welcome to Module 2-10, Making Communication Gender Inclusive. In the past module, we looked at how to send grammatically correct emails when we're requesting something or reminding people about things. In this lesson, we're addressing a very important topic. Now, gender-neutral language writing strategies are becoming more and more important. Our goal is to write and speak using non-discriminatory language and to avoid gender-biased expressions and stereotypes. This helps everyone more easily connect and know and feel appreciated. appreciated. But let's be honest, old habits are hard to break, and many languages have a foundation of gender binary. So we need to think before we write. This means making our gender neutral terms part of the vocabulary that we use when we send email messages. So for example, rather than using the word man or woman, use the word person. Rather than using husband or wife, use the word spouse. Rather than saying mankind, use the word humanity. Here are a few more examples for you to look at. And again, when you send your next email, think about rewording the terms that you're using in your email to again fit a gender neutral experience. Let's look at an example. Here I have an email that is using some gender neutral terms and strategies inside of it. You may look at it and not think so, but let's take a moment and explore this email message. The key to writing inclusively is to use gender neutral terms. So when you write an email, it's important after you write it to reread it and look for expressions that may be gender biased or gender stereotypes. Now in this email message, it's addressed to Brian Johnson. I do not know what gender Brian Johnson is, so rather than saying, "Dear Mr. Johnson" or "Dear Mrs.," I'm just using their name. This is very, again, non-gender specific and still keeping the email professional and addressing it to a specific person. Also in the signature line of my email, notice I've included the pronouns that I use, that I assimilate to myself. The other thing to look for is in the body of your email, in any gender biased expressions or gender stereotypes. Notice right here I've just referred to my team, keeping everything very gender neutral in the wording of my email message. And again, it's about awareness. By doing this, it's going to help us to connect to our audience and help everyone feel like they're important. Now, in our next message, we're going to be looking at how to apply subject modifiers for urgent emails or when sending confidential emails. Hi everyone, welcome to Module 211. We're looking at how to apply subject line modifiers to email messages. Now in the previous module, we looked at how to write gender inclusive emails and also business writing. In this lesson, we're looking at applying subject line modifiers to help people know what our emails are about. Now you've probably noticed that throughout all these modules, we mention how important the subject line is over and over again. But your subject line is like the headline of a newspaper article in your email message. So the perfect subject line is one that summarizes what the email is about. And this is very helpful when you include certain modifiers, things like the word urgent or FYI. I want to show you some examples because having a well-crafted subject line can actually save people a lot of time or make them pay attention to your email, and they'll be more apt to read it more quickly. Let's look at some examples. I have some examples of emails that are using subject line modifiers that I want you to see. This first one is to my boss, and notice that my subject line modifier is at the beginning of the subject line, it's in square brackets, and it's all uppercase. Often the subject line is the first thing the person receiving your email will read and see, and this specifically lets them know that this is confidential, therefore they shouldn't pass it on or share it with other people. And also the subject line will make them aware of the fact that it's something they need to read quickly. The second example is when you need to have something done. In this case, I'm using the subject line modifier of the word action. Notice again, it's all in uppercase and in square brackets. And the subject line states exactly what I need to have happen so that someone sees the subject line and knows that they need to give that email message and the action requested in it priority. Now, sometimes your subject line modifier may not be so important as confidential or action. This third one is just an FYI, and notice I'm not including the square brackets. This takes away a little bit of the pressure. FYI just lets someone know for your information, and again, the subject line is letting them know what I'm sharing. And hence, when they see this particular subject line, they may actually know what the email's about and not have to go back and read the entire email message. Now this fourth one is urgent. And again, we're back to trying to express a need for urgency about something that needs to be accomplished. So subject line modifiers are both for you and the people who receive your emails. And in different organizations, there may be different modifiers that are used with higher popularity. So it's important to be aware of what those are and use them. Now in our next module, we're going to be looking at how to organize your email inbox. Hello everyone. In this module, we want to look at things you can do to keep your inbox organized. Now, in the previous module, we discussed how to use subject line modifiers to help let people know about the urgency or importance of an email message. But there is nothing more painful than a cluttered inbox. So let's talk about ways to keep your inbox organized. We're going to explore creating folders, using quick steps, and even categories. And these are just a few of the tactics that you can use to help you to control the chaos that is your emails inbox. Let's look at some ways to keep an inbox organized. One of the first ones is to create a folder and put your content in the folder. You need to decide what part of your Outlook account you'd like the folder to be created in. I'd like mine to be in my inbox, so over here in my folder pane, I'm going to right-click on Inbox. I could select New Folder, or up in the ribbons, there's a folder ribbon that you can click on, and the New Folder button is the very first button at the left-hand side of the ribbon. Then I just need to type in the name of my new folder, and this will allow me to drag and drop content into this folder. When I click on OK, I'll see it get added. So all I need to do now to put content in it is select the content, left drag it over the top of the folder, release my left mouse button, and the content is placed in the folder. If I ever want to go back and open the folder up, I can just click on it and see the content inside. Now, another option you have is to apply a thing called a category. I call this color coordinating your inbox. Categories are these little colored rectangles that can be applied to all kinds of content inside Outlook, including tasks, email, and even calendar events. So how do we apply, again, a category to one of our incoming emails? We're going to right-click on the email, come in and go up to Categorize, and select the category color that you want. You can also open up an existing email, go up to the message ribbon, come over to the Categories button, and pick the category from there. Now, if you're in a hurry, you can apply categories in a bulk form by turning off the reading pane. To turn off your Outlook reading pane, go up to the View Ribbon tab, come over to the Reading Pane button in the Layout group, and say Off. By doing this, you can see all the different columns of information that are attributed to your email messages in your inbox. Now, I want to set up a thing called Quick Click. To do this, I'm going to go to my Home Ribbon tab, come over to the Tags group, and select the Categories menu. At the very bottom, there's an option that says Set Quick Click. This allows you to pick one particular color of category that you'd like to apply by clicking. I'm going to do the red category and then click on OK. Now what I will do is I will find the categories column inside my inbox and come and start clicking on the messages that I'd like to apply the red category to. And notice by doing this, I can just continue down in my inbox list until I've applied the red category to all the messages I'd like to have it applied to. Now, a final idea is to add what's called a quick step. For this, I'm going to go ahead and go back to my Home Ribbon tab and come to my Quick Steps group. Now, Quick Step is initiated by you, but it allows you to do multiple things with one step. To create a new quick step, you want to click on the bottom of the gallery. Again, it's the bar with the arrow pointing down to open up the quick step menu. I'm going to select New Quick Step. You'll see there are different types of quick steps you can pick from, but because mine will have multiple steps, I'm going to do a custom quick step. So I'll click on Custom. Of course, the first step is to give your quick step a name. Now, quick steps can have multiple actions. You'll notice here where it says choose an action, I'm clicking, and you can see many different options. Quick steps can move content to folders, delete messages, mark content as unread, and even allow you to categorize messages. So my first step is to move the messages that I apply to my quick step to a specific folder. My folder already exists. It will be my Conferences folder. Then I would like to come in and choose a second action to have a category applied to my messages. And notice this will allow me to choose the color of the category. For a third step, I'm going to come in and also have the messages in my folder be marked as unread. So with one click, my quick step will do three things. Move the content to the Conferences folder, apply a green category, and mark it as unread. Then I'll click on Finish. Now you still have to initiate the quick step. So notice now in my Quick Steps menu, I can see my Conferences quick step. I'll click on a message and then click on the Conferences quick step. And I'll continue to do this on 4 different pieces of content. Now we're not quite sure what it's doing yet, but we're going to go back and check. If my quick step has worked, I should now see that there are 4 new messages in my conferences folder. They should each have a green category applied to them, and they should all be marked as unread. And that's exactly what's happened. If you ever need to go back and edit your quick step, go up to the quick steps menu, right click on the quick step, and you'll see options to edit, duplicate, and even delete. But again, remember with the quick step, it only runs when you click on it. Now in the next module, we're going to explore how to more easily find things inside your inbox.
If you're not a subscriber, click down below to subscribe so you get notified about similar videos we upload. To see the full course that this video came from, click over there. And click over there to see more videos from Simon Sez IT.